conversations, so many discussions here this week of the tragedy in Dallas, recognizing the toll on those who serve us every day, who put on the uniform, put on the badge, go out to protect our street, to protect our communities, and the loss of life that we suffered there in Dallas. I think it is fair to say that the nation has come together to grieve, and the collective conversations that have come about since that time. I wanted to speak just a few moments this afternoon about how the impact of the tragedy in Dallas touched many in Alaska, particularly the bedroom community of Eagle River, Alaska, just outside of Anchorage. Among the 5 law enforcement heroes that were murdered last Thursday was Senior Corporal Lorne Ahrens of the Dallas Police Department. And his father, William, and his stepmother, Sue, live in Eagle River. And on that last Friday morning, Bill and Sue became members of a very exclusive fraternity that no law enforcement family ever wishes to join, and that's the fraternity of families who have lost an officer in the line of duty. Now, Lorne never lived in Alaska. He did visit on several occasions. He grew up in Southern California. He served with the LA County Sheriff's Department and then with the Dallas Police Department. But if you read the accounts of the articles in the Alaska papers, not only in the Anchorage paper, but in the Juneau newspaper yesterday, the accounts of Lorne and his story and his connection with Alaska, one would have assumed that he was one of ours, that he was an Alaska. And I think it just spoke that the loss, the tragedy that we all saw last Thursday reminded us that we are truly one community in so many ways. Bill and Sue Ahrens attend the Anchorage Baptist Temple when news that William's son had been killed in Dallas. This church community truly opened their arms, they opened their hearts to support the family, not over that difficult weekend, but really to provide them what any church community would do, what any broader community would do, to provide them that support. One can certainly understand the grief is inconceivable and really just almost inconsolable. Lorne Ahrens was a huge guy. If you followed the descriptions in the paper, a big guy, a former semi-pro football player, but he was a small cop with a big heart, is what they said. And his stature made people feel that he was almost invincible. But much as we might not want to believe it, our law enforcement heroes are not invincible. They put on the badge in the morning, they kiss their wives and their kids, and then they enter a world that is entirely unpredictable and unfortunately increasingly dangerous. Lorne's wife, Katrina, is a detective with the Dallas Police Department. She understands this probably more than most, but really, how do you explain it to your children? In this case, their children, Sorsha, who's just 10 years old, and their son, Magnus, age 8. But fortunately, Katrina, Magnus, Sorsha, Bill, and Sue will not be alone. The law enforcement community closes ranks to support survivors and their children at the local and the national levels. There's a really wonderful organization known as the Concerns of Police Survivors that really come in and enter the families' lives. And it doesn't make everything all right. but hopefully it will help. The National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund will work with the Dallas Police Department and the family to honor Lorne's memory in perpetuity just a few blocks away from here on Judiciary Square. Since coming to the Senate, I've actually grown pretty close to the folks that maintain the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. I've gone to the candlelight vigils during National Police Week. I've read the names of fallen officers from the state of Alaska. My staff has decorated the memorial with commemorative items that are sent by departments and family members that perhaps could not make it back to Washington for the vigil. We've sent pencil etchings back to the Alaska families and to the departments. I've driven down to Alexandria to meet with the families of the fallen at the annual Concerns of Police Survivors Conference. This has become really quite personal to me. Next May, the name of Lorne Ahrens will be inscribed on the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. And I'm pretty certain that William and Sue will be invited to travel to Washington to participate in the observance, and I hope to welcome them here to Capitol Hill along with Katrina, Sorsha, and Magnus. Communities throughout the nation are grieving the loss of Lorne Ahrens, as well as his 4 law enforcement colleagues from the DART and Dallas Police Department this week. But it becomes even more personal to the communities in which they were connected, where they lived, where they called home. In Lorne's case, his home community of Burleson, Texas, the city of Dallas, Los Angeles County, California, and yes, in faraway, smaller places like Eagle River, Alaska. As we recognize Senior Corporal Lorne Ahrens, know that the people of Alaska stand with the Ahrens family at this very difficult time and throughout their lives, because he truly was